I want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel. Man, what a game. Pistons played the Cavs tonight in Detroit. Cavs did not have James Harden or Donovan Mitchell, and they were also without some key bench contributors. But let's get into this post-game show because this game was so entertaining. So to start this game, Cade picked up his second foul at the 8:17 mark. His first foul, I really didn't feel like a foul. I thought it was just going to be a jump ball, but the refs had a very tight whistle tonight in this one. So he had two fouls in the first. He was able to stay out of foul trouble in the first quarter, I should say. We'll kind of get into as the game goes on later. But Cade had 9 to start this first quarter. Duran had 6, so you got a bulk of scoring from your two All-Stars. Jared Allen was just so active for the Cavs, and he's really kind of put a couple consecutive weeks where he's scoring 20 points per game. I believe he finished with 25 tonight. JB Bickerstaff obviously called the timeout at the 6:35 minute mark after trailing by 2. And the Pistons' paint defense just wasn't really there for Cleveland. Cleveland just got what they wanted. They know they wanted to get into the paint. They know they just wanted to do little dump passes to Jared Allen or Evan Mobley. And they were able to get out to a lead because the Pistons committed 5 turnovers in the first quarter. So after 12 minutes of play, it was the Cavs 35, the Pistons 27. Going into the second quarter, the Cavs defense just really bothered the Pistons. It just got to a point like very early on in the second quarter where you didn't really know like if the Pistons were going to be able to kind of come back into this one. And they eventually had to call a timeout because the Pistons surged back. They had to call a timeout at the 8:47 minute mark, and the Pistons only trailed 9. They were kind of getting back into this game, being disruptive, being defensive, and they went on an 11-0 run in a 2.5 minute span to get this game very close. Cade was getting to his spots. He was finding Jalen Duran and Asar Thompson. Was just so active with his passing again and his cutting. This was a game where Asar played high minutes and was very productive. Really like to see Asar when he's aggressive because when he's aggressive, I always feel that he kind of just adds a whole different dynamic to this team. But going into halftime, the Pistons only trailed 54 to 50. Now, coming out of halftime, Asar Thompson scored 8 minutes within the first 3 minutes of the third. Backdoor cuts, just kind of getting to his spots. Just kind of all the other things that like he kind of brings, the intangibles that he brings when he's able to score without really having a perimeter shot. Second chance points, driving to the basket. So I was really encouraged to see him come out of halftime really aggressive. And then what happened was the horns in Little Caesars Arena went off for about 10 minutes. I've never seen this happen before in a basketball game where there's just a malfunction with the horns. They eventually had to use like air horns in the arena, which is just funny in itself. But air horn gate for the Pistons versus Cavs, or so they get a little 10-minute breather. But you can see a lot of the people inside of the arena that went to the game tonight. They had their hands over their ears because it was really loud. I think the broadcast even showed that it was almost at 100 decibels. That's how loud the air horns were. What I was really surprised with is after they kind of fixed the air horn thing, Marcus Sasser actually got some clock and not garbage time. I was very surprised, but JB said he was going to try to look for more opportunities for not only Marcus Sasser and Kevin Huerter. Tonight was Marcus Sasser. Danish Jenkins hit a very big three-pointer at the end of the third to give the Pistons a 1-point lead, 85-84. Going into the fourth, Pistons kind of struggled to hit a shot. They missed a lot of layups. I did feel like they were getting fouled quite a bit tonight, and the refs just weren't calling it. They were just kind of letting Cleveland play physical defense and kind of vice versa. I think the officiating tonight was frustrating to watch because, like, some plays they would let them kind of play through it. In other plays, they would just like blow their whistle, and it was really ticky tacky. So it wasn't really consistent officiating, in my opinion. Um, and another thing this game was just so wild. So there was a gentleman front row right by JB Bickerstaff, and he was jawing with that Ben Schroeder, former Detroit Piston, as you guys know. He was jawing with him for a long time, and I don't know what he said, but then it's got very upset. I went to JB, told him what he said. I don't know what was said, but the fan got ejected. So we had a fan ejection, and the guy probably spent very good money to sit not only at the Detroit Pistons game, but you're sitting like courtside. And I know Pistons tickets are probably through the roof right now because they're good. Can't imagine how much he spent just to get kicked out in the fourth quarter. Cade fouled out of this one with 1:58 to go. And it's kind of crazy to think about. The Pistons won this game without Cade Cunningham. Cade still had a very productive game in this one. And as we kind of get into this fourth quarter, it was just back and forth, kind of this like tug of war type of thing. And then we kind of get into the last couple of seconds of this game. So Danis is bringing the ball up the court, and Cleveland obviously wants to foul him, but they foul him in the act of shooting. So the game at the time was 114 to 111 Cavs. Danis, calm, cool, and collected, hits all three free throws, forces overtime. So we're knotted up 114 after 48 minutes of action. Excuse me. Coming out of overtime, Pistons played with a lot of energy. Jalen Duren had some baskets. Danis Jenkins had a couple of baskets, and the Pistons had like a 6-point lead very early on into this overtime. Duncan Robinson fouled out, so you had more Marcus Sasser off the bench in place of him. And the Cavs did hit some tough 3-point shots. Daniel Tyson had a quarter three, got the game within 3. And then it just became a possession battle, and the Pistons were able to just execute their defense, escape this one, and they got a win in overtime. And Cade Cunningham was on the bench at the 1:58 mark after this one. So the final score with the Detroit Pistons versus the Cleveland Cavaliers was 122 to 119. Pistons get their 44th win of the season. Right now, they're sitting 44-14. Why I think that's kind of special, why they got their 44th win, because they got 44 wins last year in 82 games. They're probably going to get 50 wins this season, maybe 55, close to 60. Just the improvement of this team is remarkable, in my personal opinion. To be able to, get a win against a very good Cleveland Cavaliers team. Now, granted, I know he didn't have Donovan Mitchell, didn't have, I was almost going to say Darius Garland, didn't have James Harden. That's going to take some getting used to, James Harden in the Cleveland Cavaliers uniform. But, you have to play who's in front of you. And they took care of Cleveland. And they have one more game this week against the Magic on Sunday in Orlando. And when you looked at the FanDuel live odds for this game, the Pistons were a 5.5-point favorite going into this one. So they thought that the Pistons were going to win this game. They obviously won this game. It wasn't 5.5. This game was very entertaining. I don't know what it is about Cleveland when we play them. It's just chaotic. We've seen buzzer beaters. We've seen blowouts from either team. But more often than not, these games are just so entertaining, going down to the wire. Did not expect the horse to go off. Did not expect 2 fans getting ejected. It was just so entertaining and a very fun game to watch on a Friday night. I do want to go over the box score, and then we'll kind of wrap up this podcast, you guys. So let's kind of get into the box score with the Detroit Pistons. And it looks like I clicked the wrong one. Here we go. You think after several post-game podcasts, I would know what button to click, but it is midnight as I'm recording this podcast right now. So Tobias Harris in this one, 37 minutes, had 11 points, 5 out of 13 from the field, 1 from 4 from 3, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 steals in this one by Uncle T. I was kind of surprised when I saw that in the box score because it didn't really feel like he had 6 steals, but he was very active in the passing lanes in this one. Duncan Robinson in 34 minutes only had 8 points, struggled to shoot from the field, 3 out of 9 from the field, 2 out of 8 from 3, had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocked shots in this one. That's something you see a whole lot from Duncan Robinson is blocking shots. Jalen Duren, man, MVP of this game in my personal opinion, played 42 minutes tonight, 33 points, 11 out of 19 from the field, 11 out of 15 from the free throw line, 16 big rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, plus 14 in the plus minus. His rim protection tonight, I loved it. I love the energy. I love the activity by Jalen Duren. The aggressiveness we're seeing on him, post All-Star break has been phenomenal. He's scoring 20, 25 points a game. I think going into this, he was like 26.9 and 14 rebounds since the All-Star break. And obviously it's small sample size, but he's really kind of picked up a second gear coming out of this break. And you love to see it, especially as we're getting closer to the NBA playoffs. Cade Cunningham in 37 minutes in this one dropped 25 points. He was 11 out of 21 from the field. Didn't hit a 3, but he did attempt 3. He was 3 out of 5 from the free throw line, had 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 turnovers, and 2 steals. In this one, he was a +2. Asar Thompson, 36 minutes played. Very surprising. You don't see Asar usually play that many minutes, but he had 18 points in this one. He was 7 out of 10 from the field, 4 to 6 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals, and 1 block. He's a +7. Love to see Asar, get the opportunity, get high minutes. And I feel like when he's aggressive, this team just has a whole different flow and a dynamic to it. And also, I've really loved his passing this week. Like, Asar has made some really great, excellent reads where Cade is kind of letting him be that secondary ball handler at times. And I think Asar has made really good decisions. Some of the passes that he's made this week, I've been a really big fan of. Going into the bench, Paul Reed in 11 minutes had 4 points. He was 2 out of 4 from the field, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 offensive rebounds. He was a -11 off the bench for the Pistons. Ron Holland, another productive game out of him. Only played 15 minutes, though. 12 points, 4 out of 6 from the field, 2 out of 3 from 3. Perfect from the free throw line, 2 out of 2. He had 3 rebounds, 1 turnover in this one. He was a -6 in the box score. Javonte Green had 2 points in 7 minutes. He was 1 out of 4 from the field. He also cashed in 2 rebounds and had 1 steal. He was a +6 in the plus minus. Karis LeVert, 17 minutes, had 1 point, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, -4 in this one. Kind of felt like he was trying to sell the game at times. Just some of the turnovers, the decisions, the possessions, I just was not really in love with it. And even JB's decided, like, you know what, maybe I'll give Marcus Sasser a run, and that's what he did. Marcus Sasser played 11 minutes, but he didn't hit a shot. He had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 2 turnovers. He was a +1 in the plus minus. And Danish Jenkins in 19 minutes played, had 8 points, only shot 2 out of 10 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, perfect from the free throw line, 3 out of 3 to force overtime tonight. 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover. But this was a game where you look at it, like Cade stepped up, Asar stepped up, and Jalen Duren, big monster game, MVP tonight, if you do ask me. If we do look at the team stats for the Detroit Pistons versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, both teams shot 46% from the field. The Pistons did have 6 more possessions than them. Cleveland shot 37% from 3, with the Pistons only shot 22% from 3. This is a team that just really is terrible from 3. Duncan Robinson's your only consistent 3-point shooter. It's a tough watch if you're watching other teams, cash in like anywhere from 15 to 23 pointers. And this team just struggles to hit threes. free throw line. So Cleveland shot 74, the Pistons shot 73. Rebounds, Pistons did win this rebound battle 56-41. They had 21 offensive rebounds. Big part of that was Jalen Durden and Star Thompson just being so active out there. Cleveland did out assist the Pistons in this one. They had 32 to the Pistons 26. Pistons had 14 steals to Cleveland's 10. Cleveland had more blocks, had 9. Pistons had 6. Pistons only had 16 turnovers in this one. Cleveland had 18. And points in the paint is usual, 68 to 56. Cleveland is another team that does like to play in the paint as well, especially with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen out there. They're another team that just likes to play in the paint, but Pistons do win this paint battle. But I think the one thing with this team is they're going to win on the margins. When you kind of look at just these teams, that they might not, shoot the prettiest from three, but they will live in the paint. They will bang down low and make their opponent feel them. So Pistons have one more game this week. I mentioned it during this podcast. They play the Orlando Magic. Now, I don't know what to expect with this game. Orlando has always been a very difficult team for the Pistons to play. They have long, lengthy defenders, defensive. I know Anthony Black is probably going to be the primary defender on Cade Cunningham on Sunday. You also have Desmond Bane, who, for whatever reason, just randomly goes off against the Pistons. Hasn't done it so much in a Magic uniform. Did it a shitload when he was with the Memphis Grizzlies. So that's a game I'll be looking out for this Sunday. I'm sure you guys will as well. Pistons have a chance to get the 45th win if they do take care of Orlando. But I am going to wrap up this podcast, you guys. Again, the Pistons win this one 122-119. Such an entertaining game. Overtime, fan ejections, horns going off. But we will see you guys later. Hope you guys are staying safe and having a great night. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.